Well, good day, friends. It's your old pal Jordan the Lion and the beautiful Katie.
Hello.
And we are coming to you from Battle Creek, Michigan, because today the Battle Creek Regional Museum is adding a Del Shannon wing, and our friend James is going to be donating a lot of Del's memorabilia for the museum. So we're here to see it all happen. Daze with Jordan the Lion and you all begins right now. Speaking of Del, there's Del. And James actually played a show here in town with that very guitar that I did some vlogging of. And it was quite a weekend. It's been a lot of fun. He's doing a presentation in here. You can see Del's image up there on the wall. People over here buying shirts. What do you think you and they made it a whole weekend deal. Friday night the concert, Saturday the car show event, Del Shannon car show, and then the legacy event today of the dedicating the museum. James, it's great to see you. Even greater to see that jacket. What are you wearing?
I'm wearing Del Shannon's suit jacket with a pin that Del put on, and I've left it on all these years. So, and of course Del's ring and his bracelet I brought to represent today.
What's the significance of the jacket? When did he wear that?
This is the suit jacket Del took one of them on the road with the Beatles when he closed the show in 1963 in Liverpool at the London Palladium.
Whole crowd for the ceremony.
A major legend in Battle Creek is born Autry DeWalt Mixon, and he was born in 1931, passed away in 1995. His name on stage was Junior Walker, and he was a musician that recorded for Motown, and his band was known as the All-Stars. Recognizable by the saxophone. Arguably, Del Shannon probably achieved the greatest success in the world of music for Battle Creek. Musician, songwriter, and singer. He was born Charles Whedon Westover. He lost his career, musical career as Del Shannon in Battle Creek. This is where he adopted the name. And he first played his famous hit song at the High-Low Club. His 1961 single, Runaway, shot up to #1 on the US, UK, Australia, and New Zealand Billboard charts virtually overnight. His follow-up songs, Hats Off to Larry, climbed to #5 on the US Billboard charts that same year. He had many other Billboard hits. Little Town Flirt went to #12 in 1962, Handyman #22, and Keep Searching, We'll Follow the Sun, and went to #9 in 1964. Del Shannon was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 1999 and the Michigan Rock and Roll Legends Hall of Fame in 2005. The Del Shannon family has been very helpful in making this event a success the last several years. Some photos of his life and his performance.
Son of Junior Walker, Derek DeWalt.
And our next guest, James Popenhagen. He was on the stage Friday night. Del Shannon as a young man.
He was with a group called Bill Nix and the Jumpin' Jacks. And Bill Nix went to the Army, and my dad and Willie Lewis got together. And they kept the group going, and I think it was Johnny Bristol brought my dad to Helen, and she started performing in the club every weekend.
Yeah.
Then she brought our first house, 96 Grand Avenue, and all 11 of us in a 3-bedroom house.
Wow. He was the house band for a number of years at the El Grotto. Helen Montgomery brought him.
Yeah, that's how we ended up in Battle Creek, thanks to Helen Montgomery. My dad walked outside and he said, "What's that dance y'all doing?" He said, "It's called The Shotgun. You should write a song about it." My mom's and my dad went home and he couldn't sleep all night. He kept waking her up, What's this? You know, help me with this, help me with that. All night he'd come up with Shotgun.
Wow.
Wow.
That's how Shotgun came about, but it
Performed it first time
was
here.
a dance before it was a song.
Wow.
Show us some shotgun.
Can you tell us some of the early memories or what's the early story about Del? He first sang Runaway at the El Dorado. Can you give us some background of that experience and how he came about that?
Well, he actually sang it at the Hilo Club first.
Or help?
And my grandfather, before Del took over at the Hilo, my grandpa played for Doug DeMont at the Hilo. And then Del took over. And what's funny is a friend of mine who worked at Brunswick with Del and my grandfather said, Bob would call my grandfather and say, "Listen, Charlie and I," Charlie being Del Shannon, "we just left the Hilo, it's 2 in the morning. We're going to go to El Dorado and play until the sun comes up, so you clock us in at work." So he would be at Brunswick clocking in Bob and Del Shannon. They weren't at the place. They weren't at the joint. They were at the El Dorado rocking. And the reason Del and my grandfather loved to go to the El Dorado was the Hilo Club really was pretty heavy and dominant with country music, which Del loved, and so did my grandfather, but they knew the new move was this new rock and roll music. And if you wanted to get a good beat, you went to the El Dorado. So every chance, except the only thing my grandpa would say is, "We're going to the El Dorado, Charlie. Take those cowboy boots off." That was the only stipulation. And then they rocked at the El Dorado. We were just a pretty ordinary blue collar. My dad always had a '63 Gibson SG in a closet that I knew belonged to my grandpa Bob, but we knew nothing about it. And then somebody earlier was talking about American Graffiti to me, and Eddie and the Cruisers both had Runaway in it. And when we heard it, my dad said, "I know the guy that sang that song. My dad was his guitar player. He's my dad's best friend. His name's Charlie Westover." And we kind of looked at Dad. He never ever mentioned it to my mother or nobody. So we had no idea. So I was a little skeptical, to say the least. But turns out he came to open the grand opening at the Kellogg Arena, and Johnny Tilson came out and said, "Del Shannon wants to know if there's any Copenhagens in the crowd. Please come backstage." And he come around the corner, and actually the same where my dressing room was, and he said, "Copenhagens!" He was really energetic, kind of like Craig, you know. And then he started telling us those stories about my grandfather when I was pretty little. So I only had to go off stories mostly to know him. And Del would tell all the stories about the El Dorado and Daisy Mays and everywhere that him and Del would go play. And I remember the first time Del stepped out of this RV at a concert he was playing outdoors in a nice motorhome. He had on this great gold jewelry, which I'm wearing today, his ring and his bracelet. And I just watched how he commanded the crowd, and they were just eating it up. And at the time, Runaway was the theme song at Crime Story on NBC every Thursday night, and I would stay up all night to watch it when I should be going to sleep for school. And that was the moment when I thought, I don't want to drive a cement truck. I better grab a guitar. And so I took that SG out of the closet and I taught myself to play guitar, and a couple years later piano. And then because of knowing Del, people would call and just say, "I knew Del Shannon." And then I got to go on the road later on with people like the Shirelles and the Dixie Cups and Wolfman Jack and a lot of those acts because of knowing Del. So, and I would back him up. I'd open the show and I'd back up all those guys, Frankie Ford, just a lot of those legends from the era. So I grew up going to school when I should have been talking about ZZ Top. I was with the Dixie Cups last night. And everybody's like, "What? You brushing your teeth or something?" I said, "Oh, the girl group, man, it was great. We had dinner," and so I got to hang out with. I have a list of 90 acts from the 60s that I either traveled and toured with or had dinner in really intimate moments. So I never looked back from there. I did plumbing for a while, but I broke my back, and that was the end of plumbing. I said, "Well, I guess I'll go back into music." My wife said, "Go do it," and I did. It took me to Nashville to work with Vince Gill and people like that. Manager and the promoter and everything, Big Top, took all the money from Runaway and all that. Del didn't hardly see a nickel until he won his rights back in '78, and I became friends with Robbie, who owned Half a Little Town Flirt, and two kinds of teardrops, and Kelly. They wrote about 8 hits together, some of them in Europe. And he was telling me, he said, I worked for a jelly factory in Detroit, and I would hear a Little Town Flirt on the top 10, and I'm still working this jelly factory. And he said, I worked there for 20 years, and then Del Shannon had enough, and he got sober, and he went to court, and he fought and got all his publishing back. And they said, you can have your publishing, Mr. Westover, but you have to take every artist on that Big Top owns. So he ended up with Johnny and the River, or Johnny and the Hurricanes, and a lot of other acts. And Johnny's wife told me, as well as Marion McKenzie, Robbie, he's in a factory, he gets a call, and he says, it's Del Shannon on the phone. And he said, well, I'll shut the line down. So he gets on the phone, and it's 1977, 78, and he says, Robbie, I got our rights back, and even though Del owned them, he said, I'm writing half of all the hits I wrote with you back to you. You got a check coming from $700,000, and you'll be paid the rest of your life, everything. And Robbie said, man, I threw off my apron and said, I'm still getting the right royalties every 3 months from him. In 1948, made in Chicago, Sears and Roebuck Silvertone, and that's the exact same model guitar that Del Shannon's parents bought him. It came on a train through Sears and Roebuck, and when he started playing, he first played ukulele, had an Arthur Godfrey ukulele and songbook, and he also said he learned his falsetto, talking about giving dues where they should be, was from the Ink Spots. We three, oh, a love that was so strong. And as I still walk on, I think of the things we've done together. I said, why? She ran away, and I wondered where she was staying. My little runaway, run, 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 run away.
So the exhibit starts over here with some of James's personal stuff, and then this case, the case back there, and then all of this is Del's stuff that I'm going to show you. Dublin Sessions, that was one that James was telling us that Del recorded a lot of covers during that time. So check this out, these are all proofs of Del and Tom Petty together.
Can I give you this right?
Yeah, I was kind of figured it was. Oh my God!
Yeah, I don't know. Del toured with the Beatles with that jacket, and it is hotter than
This thing must weigh 10 pounds.
Yeah.
And he was huge in England. He used to tour with the Beatles. In fact, I think the Beatles were like the support act for him because he was so big there. I get to hold the Del Shannon jacket that he used for his tour with the Beatles with the button on it that he left of himself. He used to wear this with that button.
That one will never wrinkle.
Here's Del's leather vest, you can see, and they actually have some photos of him in concert wearing it. So that's really cool that they have it on display.
More over here. And
oh my God.
And then over here is Key to the City, Utica. And sadly, Del basically ended it all for himself, and he did it in a chair that was a gift from the Beatles. James was telling me that the Del was recording right down the hall from the Beatles and used to go sit in with them so much that they all had like director's chairs with their names on the back, and they made one for Del, and so that was Del's chair, and that was sadly what he was sitting in when he passed. The Lifetime Achievement Award, or Lifetime Honorary Award from the Florida Sheriff's Association. Another one of Del's awards. In this picture of Del, he's wearing the ring that James wears, and that's the one that Dick Clark gave him, right? Correct. Wow, that's so cool, man. And the Beatles down there. And his real name, Del's real name, was Charles Westover. So on this lyric sheet, it's signed Charles Westover. But his wife used to call him Chuck.
Oh, yeah.
This is a funny one. This is for Baby It's You. And James was telling us that the label didn't want to give Del a gold record, so he made one himself. And it says, presented to myself because Dunhill Records was too cheap, Charles Westover. That's why I was telling you Charles Westover was Del himself. So he had this made for himself. Cards from his parents. And it's crazy, he loaned the money for Cherokee Studios that I made a vlog on in Los Angeles, and Cherokee was where like David Bowie recorded. All kinds of people recorded there. Del's record for American Graffiti, platinum record. And that was from Asylum Records for No Nukes. There's his hat, and there's one of his passports. And then take a look at this. There's Del wearing that leather vest we just saw in the case. Here's another one of his passports. They have a lot of them. They have a lot of his passports, actually. There's Del with the Beatles. This is his report card. Grade kindergarten. And that's him in the hospital bed. I wonder what happened. There he is with Mickey Dolenz from the Monkees. Shaving. Then a lot of his songwriting awards. There's Runaway, Hats Off to Larry. That's Runaway is a gold record. Del had a real thing for model trains, and there he is holding and buying a model train. That's the key to the city of Coopersville. Del grew up and lived there also. There in the back is signed photo from Del. So these photos, I was asking James who they were with, and he said that's actually Del with his mom and his wife in these photos. His wife Shirley and his mom Leone.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Can I see that?
And that cool Minstrels 1961 from Coopersville, one of the towns he grew up in. It's signed by him as well. Well, my friends, hope you enjoyed today. Getting to hear a little bit about Del and see some of his memorabilia. Thank you, Battle Creek Regional Historical Museum, for making this happen, and James Bopenhagen. Thank you all for watching. We'll see you next time. Goodbye.